Friday.
What? Why?
Thursday, I got to go to O'Connor and get my leg twisted back in shape.
My twin brother Michael Grasso and I can do that for you for free.
Yeah, I
Oh,
figured.
for a beer.
My wife said she'd do it
just
too.
pain meds.
I gotta go to O'Connor and get-
Hi, Jenny.
We're live on YouTube.
Hi, everybody on YouTube.
Nick, I'd be glad to do it for you so you don't have to go to the doctor.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
We got it.
Nothing would give me better pleasure there.
Did you have that done, Chuck?
I did, and Bill O'Connor was also my doctor, and he did a
Yeah, I
great
know.
job.
Yeah, he did a good job. I had to have it adjusted a little bit. They put you under for about 5 minutes and they twist it.
Ooh, well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
hey, Nick,
What?
make sure you film it. I want to see this.
In the aquarium.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to make sure he gives me the right stuff.
Hey, Chuck, welcome. I didn't warn you about any of this. I'm sorry, Chuck.
Oh, this is fun already, so thank you.
So I'd like to call the meeting to order. Ally, if you can do a roll call, please.
Craig Leggett,
Present.
Michael Biddle.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Brian's not on yet. Jenny Sullivan. Here. Mike Grasso,
Present.
Dan Bruno,
Here.
Mary King. Here. Nick Caimano,
Here,
Dave O'Brien.
Here. So before we start, I know a lot of people knew this gentleman who made a big contribution to the area. Mr. John LaPointe passed away, so I just want to let people know, I think most people are familiar with what he did for the area. So I just want to pass that on.
oh boy.
So he was,
How
for
old
those
was
that
he?
know, he was a supervisor for the town of Putnam for 30 years. He was involved in off-track betting, racing, everything he could get his hands into. So he was a very good gentleman.
He was a treasurer for a long time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow, just
Sorry to hear that.
so anyhow, in terms of that, I will need a motion to approve the minutes of December 20th board meeting.
So moved.
So moved by Nick, second by Grasso. I heard him first. Any omissions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'd also like to do one thing. We have two people joining us tonight. Chuck Barton of Barton Mines. He's expressed interest in getting involved more in the IDA to learn more about what we do and how we contribute. So welcome, Chuck. The second is Melissa, right? Michelle Stockwell. Michelle Stockwell is from Warren, Washington, BOCES, and she's going to make a slight presentation, a little presentation in a few minutes. I'll put you up top, Michelle, so you don't have to wait. But next order of business is current account payable. You have them in front of you. Any questions on the payables? Hi, Mike.
Hi. Just one question. Can you remind me who KDBF is? Ventures. It was for.
Etain.
18.
Oh, it is. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I don't know if you've seen those. We added two more to it. We are closing on the dewatering facility on Thursday. So there's two payables one payable on here for that was $43.47 for title work. So that was an addition to it. And Kara's going to have some expenditures for Washington County when we close, about $386, but we don't have an invoice of that, so we didn't include that. I just want to let you know what it was. So, any questions? Do we have a motion to approve these? Motion by
So
Mr.
moved.
Biddle,
So moved.
second by Mr. Leggett. And roll call, please.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yep.
Mike Grasso,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Along with our taking over the dewatering facility, Chuck, you know what the dewatering facility is?
I do.
Okay. So we're about to take it over from Fort Edward Local Property Development Corporation. Part of what they were talking to BOCES was I'll let Michelle explain that, is to use it for training. And I'll let Michelle explain the whole thing to you, since she'll do a better job than I will. So,
Thank you. And thank you for having me. So in recent years, we've been in some conversation in regards to needing some space available for students to train. So we train during the day with our ETA program and in the evenings. There are some new changes coming down the pike from the federal motor carrier, which require us to identify a location for training that has enough space to be able to do things like backing, parking, alley docking. And it has to be a location that doesn't have through traffic. So we meet the needs in regards to the evenings because we can use lower lots and lots that aren't being drove through. But during the day, that poses a little bit of a challenge. And because of the new changes with the federal motor carrier, we're trying to make sure that we're, in compliance. So we had started this conversation last year. This is a great facility. It's local to our programming, and it was just something that is a really great way to begin another partnership as well. Just to give you some background, ETA program is a division of BOCES, so it's employment training for adults. We work with adults to get them training in skilled trades on a much more condensed pathway and into the workforce as soon as possible. So we are on the training provider list with the federal motor carrier to be able to train CDL drivers. We have a heavy equipment program. We do welding, construction, HVAC, the list goes on and on. So we have quite a bit of offerings. Our CTE program is our high school students. They also have several of the same offerings as well. And again, those programs are designed to help students that are getting ready to graduate prepare for the workforce. So, for me, this was a partnership much bigger than just a parking space and a space that we can utilize, but how we might be able to partner with our local industries to be able to meet the needs.
okay. So about how much time a week would it be?
So our training, it does vary. That's one thing that, we could work out if it was only available certain times. If there were only, certain days that were available, it's something we can work around as long as we kind of have a heads up and we know. Like I said, we do have facilities that have, the evening availability. It becomes a little bit trickier when we talk about our CTE students who drive during the day, because that's when they come to us. And, our adult ETA students that maybe are only training during the day because maybe they work on a second or third shift and they can't do the evening. So it's really just maybe having flexibility and conversation, what works for you guys. But if we had some daytime availability that was out there, that would be very helpful.
Well, right now we have plenty of daytime availability, so.
Okay.
Well, beyond that, Mr. Chairman, do you have some kind of a schedule? Do you know in advance by a day or two, or you don't? Okay.
A day or two, yes, for sure. We don't have a largely advanced calendar. The reason for that is the way we do it is we get a student who registers with us, and then we register with the DMV for a road test. And then we try to drive with them consistently each week up until that road test happens. So there's not like a lag of when they're actually training versus when they're testing. Sometimes that fluctuates, whether it's, snow, whether it's scheduled, trucks going down, whatever that might be. So it's not always as, fit, but we make it work.
How about
Can you-
insurance?
Can you provide us with some kind of certificate of insurance?
I just said,
Yeah. So we had a draft contract. We had a draft contract with DA, and I can do the same thing. We can draft up that contract and do a certificate of insurance. That's not a
Perfect.
problem at all, that you guys can review to take a look at, so I can get that to you over this week. And then that way, if you have any other questions or concerns, we can, address those as they arise.
Mr. Bill, you had a question?
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just a statement. This program is so important. The Chamber partners and has a robust partnership with BOCES on a lot of levels. And one of them specifically is this ETA program, which the Chamber has given $10,000 in the past year to BOCES for adults that are looking for training. And it's an exciting program. It's amazing the people that apply for these programs, and they stay local. There's a commitment to be trained here and also stay local. And then almost every business that I speak to is short people as far as number of people working. CDLs are at the top of the list right now in short supply, and I know Ms. Stockwell can certainly appreciate that and so on, but our businesses are hurting tremendously. If we can help train people here locally and keep them local, this would be a great partnership with BOCES.
Well, I think that's terrific. I think you're absolutely right, because I know people who wanted to get a CDL and they had no idea where to go and even get training, and that's not good, right? Especially right now. But the other thing is, once we start getting people there, they have to know that this is happening on site too. Whoever is renting from us or leasing from us or whatever, right?
Right. Michelle, is there any need to store equipment there?
Nope, it would be an in and out. So typically what we do is we would pick up a student or meet a student on site to do driving, and then we would go to whatever location. And sometimes that's, okay, you're going to take the Northway today because you're going to learn how to drive on the Northway, or we're going to take you a different route and you're going to take the back roads and we can take you to whatever location. In the past, we've done parking at other locations. It's just, it doesn't last long. They always ask us to leave, and, and I understand why, but it's during the day is really when we have that barrier. So I could certainly come up with, like I said, a schedule or what would work for you guys. Certainly are flexible in whatever we had. We're just trying to make sure that we're in compliance for our daytime students without having everybody have to rearrange, work schedules and things. As it is, like Michael mentioned, workforce is low right now. And so we're trying to keep the people in that are already working and work around their existing schedules.
So,
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would go ahead and say that we should approve this consistent with a contract that we both signed, but the idea is certainly a good one. And I'll move it.
So as I understand, they need someone, I'll take the motion by Nick. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Dan Bruno, Biddle, and Mr. Grasso. So I was going to say is that if you're familiar with the site, would there be any need to back in and out of buildings?
No, the site that I looked at, or when I went and looked last time, it was all the way at the end. It was a really cleared out place. I think there might have been a building to the left, railroad tracks to the right, and then some, barriers. Beyond that, we should be, pretty good. As long as that, I don't know if that is going to continue to stay cleared or if people are working out of there or what that looks like.
Right now, we only have grain operations down there right now, which is by the tracks. There's certainly a wide open area to use at this point. And maybe we should go down there, or whomever you'd like to go down there and look at the site to talk about it and find the right location. I have no problem with it. I just want to make sure it's good for you.
Absolutely.
And meet your students' needs.
Certainly. I'd be happy to. That would be great to see it again. It's been a while.
I'll get a hold of you and we'll set up something.
Perfect. I appreciate that.
Mr. Biddle?
Mr. Chairman, I think somebody had mentioned a contract. I don't want to do a complicated contract, like a one pager, and just on a yearly basis, and just to be renewed on a yearly 30-day notice, that type of stuff. But I'd also would want a point person with BOCES and a point person with the IDA as well. That would just be helpful, sir.
The only thing we really have to worry about is auto liability. As long as the
Right.
contract says that they will hold us harmless and name us as an additional, well, actually on the auto policy, they don't even have to be an additional insured, but the contract can state, that any damage or anybody that gets hurt there would be their responsibility.
Okay,
Other than that, very simple.
okay, good. Dan, did you have a question? Okay, good.
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
I'll get. Actually, is the contract gonna be the same as you have with DA Collins, the same standard, just our name in it?
Yeah, so it was same thing, a yearly contract, 30 days notice, very straight to the point, one page. So I'll give that over to you guys as a draft to see if there's anything that you guys feel you need any edits on, and we can kind of go from there. But I have that kind of drafted right now, so I'll fine tune that and send that over. And I'll send over the certificate of insurance with it as well, so you guys can take a look at it.
Okay,
I
great.
think we did that back when we insured DA Collins. So I think I've already seen it, but send it to Dave. He'll buck it over to me.
Perfect.
Okay, well, thank you, Melissa. I think you said to me that you need something in place by February 7th.
February 7th is our official start date with the federal motor carrier, and that's when, we have to meet all compliance. And like I said, we meet it for the evening, but we really want to have that flexibility for the daytime for all our CTE and our ETA students. So we much appreciate it.
We're open.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll get that over to you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, we did the payables. I was looking at the, you had the balance sheet and the profit and loss statements. I just want to annotate, these aren't the final numbers, but closer into the year. Our equity has increased by about $687,000 in 2021. We also have an $80,000 reimbursement coming from National Grid, which we have not received yet. So part of that increase was due to taking over some of the facilities on the dewatering facility with the road there. That was that. Net income was up on the balance on the budget versus actual was up by $65,000 as compared to our budget from last year. So anyone have any questions on the financials? Okay, having had none, we'll move on. Michael, Executive Director report.
Good afternoon, everybody, and for those that I haven't seen or spoken to, Happy New Year to you. Executive Director report. The Economic Development Council annual conference that I was supposed to be attending starting today has been postponed till February 28th and March 1st. So I will be down in Albany those 2 days. I did speak to their deputy director. They're working on their 2022 legislative agenda. Once I receive that, happy to distribute to everybody for their review. So they're in the loop as to what the EDC is, what their goals are for this year in lobbying the legislature. Certainly welcome any feedback, recommendations that we can send down to them on behalf of the IDA. Had several meetings with some of the larger companies in the area, just to open lines of communication, see if there's anything that the IDA can partner with them. So hopefully somewhere down the road we'll be able to have some clients there. Warren County EDC has reached out. They might have a potential client for the airport industrial park. So that's positive news. For any board members that haven't been made aware, recently signed 2 clients, Brookfield Renewable Energy and Fort William Henry. Their public hearings are scheduled for early February. Happy to fill you in on the projects themselves if you have any questions. As we've mentioned before about the substation out at the dewatering facility, slowly moving the process, getting it towards onto eBay to get some bids and hopefully some interest there. We're in the final stages of that. With the delineation at the Airport Industrial Park coming to a close, we're getting some new maps printed out to more accurately show what is available out there in terms of lots, in order to hopefully garner some more interest for each of them. Happy to email you electronic copies once they're complete. We are working with Behan Communications and Black Dog with some potential marketing tools to better extend the WIDA's footprint in the area. We'll continue to fill you in on that as we proceed. Nothing has been officially made yet. The last thing I wanted to mention was, as I've mentioned the last couple of board meetings, we're certainly encouraging all of you to write letters of recommendation to the Public Service Commission on behalf of the Champlain Hudson Power Express project. We did receive another letter of support from Assemblywoman Carrie Warner. If anybody needs a copy of that, I'm happy to give it to you. And then finally, Thursday, the committee for the infrastructure proposals out at the dewatering facility will be meeting with the other two companies that the committee's decided have the most appropriate proposals. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and it's nice to see pretty much everybody this month. Yes, sir, Mr. Biddle.
Mr. Ostrander, always a pleasure. Thank you for the great report. Just wanted to make sure you had received our letter of support for CHPE from the ARCC.
I did, yes. Thank you very much.
No, my pleasure, sir. Just wanted to make sure. I couldn't remember if I sent it out or not.
Yes, you did, and we did have it, and certainly. Do you need us to submit it, or are you submitting that on your own from your organization?
Please submit it. And
okay.
I also sent a copy to Mr. McGahey.
Okay.
As well, I CC'd him on that or sent it to him. But if you'd like to submit it, that'd be great. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So I didn't realize it. I think this is the first time in a long time we had perfect attendance. So wonders
Nice
are
to
always
see you here,
nice to
Chairman.
hear. So
I believe it's because Mr. Barton joined us and we just wanted to show off.
Why are you here? Are you borrowing money, Chuck, or what?
no,
I'll let Mr. Biddle speak on my behalf.
Okay.
That is never good. That's no bueno.
I'm probably the better one to speak. As I said earlier, Chuck has expressed some interest in getting to know more about the IDA, how we help, and how he might be able to help us. So
Good.
that's the reason he's here tonight. Okay, any other questions for Mike? Okay. Delineation update, as Mike said, we pretty well finished up with the first phase. I believe that the deed restrictions were filed today. Is that correct, Kara?
Sorry. Yes, they were filed this afternoon. So I have the receipt right now. I just don't have all the file that has to be processed with the county. So as soon, I'll send over the receipt to Bob Holmes so he can get that off to Army Corps. And then once we get the file document back, I'll circulate that also.
And the next step was there's some areas we'd like to swap for wetlands, just for anyone doesn't, Chuck probably only didn't know it, is that in the IDA park, we've had some wetlands, and there was some wetlands that we had mitigated for the airport runway extension, which part of that mitigation never worked. But over the years, the wetlands has creeped in there, and we have a number of lots that are not usable. and some that are fractionally usable, anywhere up to 70%. So we found out rather rudely about a year ago that we should do a delineation every 5 years. And so we're in the process of doing that, and we're catching up to where we should have been 15 years ago. When the last, or actually it was 20 years ago when the last delineation was done. So we're catching up, but it has altered the landscape down there. There is quite a substantial piece in the back, which we will probably be making that forever wild and use that as a swap to fill in some of the other areas. So that's the next phase of delineation. TDI update, question mark. We hope to get the papers done, reviewed by Mr. Scott and to the CHPA's attorneys for closing. We hope to tentatively close 27th of January. So hopefully that is, and for, again, Chuck, for your knowledge, the Champlain Hudson Power Express is a transmission line starting in Hydro, Quebec, and bringing power down through the bottom of Lake Champlain, out of the water in Putnam, coming down through Washington County and exiting Washington County at Fort Edward, continues down through Saratoga, Rensselaer, Schenectady, Albany County, and Greene County, where it then joins Hudson and continues down to New York City to provide power. So that's the transmission that they're being done there. They've been working on this for 12 years. Finally, hopefully it comes to fruition. They have got New York State contracts completed. They're waiting for PSC, Public Service Commission, public comment to be finished before the finalization of the contract. They expect the construction to take 3 years, 2 years in Washington County. The total construction cost in Washington County is $431 million, which will bring $269 in additional revenues into Washington County for the next 30 years. So that's the highlight.
That's an exciting but very complex project.
It is.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the guys that been working on this for 12 years, and all the permits and all the work that had to be done to do it, and it just keeps on going on. So Canal Side Energy Park, as I mentioned, will be closing 2:30 on Thursday, the schedule. I got the final binder for the insurance. The insurance total was $18,200. That included vacancy. We had hoped that they would insure it as occupied, like they did with DA Collins. However, Central Insurance Company, which gave the bid, has decided to term it as vacant, which it really is. So there was a $2,000. They started with a $4,000 vacancy plan. They brought that down to $2,000, and we're adding $1 million in liability or umbrella policy. We will continue to merge the insurance we have on the road, and part of that facility will merge that into this policy at Central. So we will pick up another $1 million in umbrella from there, which we have in that policy, and we'll take the liability for the roads and make sure the liability insurance is covered. So, Mr. Leggett, you had a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So once the IDA owns the property, what's our tax status and so on and so forth?
Our tax status as we take it, we'll be tax exempt by law. There's still the matter of the outstanding taxes that weren't paid by Fort Edward LPDC, which we will talk about how to handle when we can get there. It's not a subject I want to talk about in open session. So it'd be wonderful if someone walked in and bought a piece of property for $1 million, we could pay it off in no time.
With your luck so far, that might just happen.
Well, we'll see. 2022 started off better than last year. for the IDA at least. So we'll see. Any questions on that? Michael mentioned the engineering review, RFP reviews. And then Ally.
Hi, guys. Once again, I have included your board evaluation sheets. For those of you who have not filled it in and sent it to me, please do so. And also the certificate training grid, or whatever you call it, Excel document, is also included in your meeting packets that I emailed to you all. Anyone who's yellow, that needs to be recertified. And if you have any questions or if you need any links to anything, let me know.
Okay, please catch up on your training and your certificates, please. Substation, Michael talked about
I
that.
got a question, Dave.
Oh, Michael, I didn't see you.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman, not a problem. Ally, could you just send us the links again? That would be great. If you just send it to all of us, that way nobody has an excuse, especially me, for not doing it. And I'd love to get it done by the end of this week. So thank you. And Ally, just as a reminder to everybody, the ABO certification is every 3 years. It's the first two, the sexual harassment and the workplace, that are every year, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. Thank you. Just trying to help, Ally.
Thank you, Mr. Biddle. Any other questions for Ally? Okay. As we know, or most of us know, federal government added a new holiday, federal holiday, the Juneteenth holiday. So we should add that to our list of holidays. So I'd ask for a motion to add Juneteenth holiday to our scheduled days off.
Mr. Chairman, I move.
Do I have a second? Craig Leggett. My only comment is that I still don't understand what the relation, well, I don't. When you hear Juneteenth, you really don't understand what it means. In most holidays, you understand what it means. So anyhow, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next order of business is officer nominations for year 2022. They'll be nominated now and at our annual meeting to voted on. So we have 3 positions: chair, vice chair, and secretary treasurer. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I wholeheartedly and 100% support Dave O'Brien for chair. If I mention 100% for you to keep doing it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Biddle.
I'll second that.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah, I would do it too, but I have a question to ask first. When you
Okay,
and I were beating the bushes there, Michael, a long time ago, there was in the bylaws somewhere, and I don't know if it's the bylaws, it was what we were doing was alternating between the counties. As long as that's not in there, I'm for O'Brien.
Mr. Chairman, may I address Uncle Nick's question or statement?
yeah.
That was alternating when we mutually agreed that the current chair would no longer serve. So, right? So it wasn't,
No.
it wasn't every other year, because if I recall, I served 06 to 09. There wasn't a set time period. And you had served prior to that.
Yeah, but so did what's his noodle? Bruce.
Well, right. And again, when they
As long
changed.
as it's not in there in writing, that's fine with me. Dave is fine with me.
There's nothing in there. The practice has been, you're right, the practice has been when the currently serving chairman never doesn't serve anymore, we go to the other county. And the same thing with the vice chair. The vice chair is supposed to be from the other county. And we also have the at-large member, which needs to be reappointed this year, also is alternating every 2 years. So the last 2 years is Washington County, the next 2 years becomes Warren County.
That's written down somewhere?
That one's in the bylaws.
It is in the bylaws.
That one's in the bylaws, yes.
Okay.
The at-large, Uncle Nick. The
Yeah, I
at-large is in
understand.
the bylaw.
I understand.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we don't have some crazy chairman of the board of one county or another get us behind the tree and start beating us up.
I don't think it's fair to question the chair's sanity at this point when you said crazy. We can have a different discussion on that later.
I will make a statement that anyone does this for more than one term.
Right. Amen.
Okay, so I guess I
Hey,
gotta call.
hey, the pay is great, isn't it? I mean, really.
Absolutely. It's called negative cash flow on my part.
Yep.
So, all in favor?
Mr. Chairman, could you roll call vote these, sir?
Yeah.
We should ask for any other nominations. Do we have
Did
any
you?
other nominations?
No.
Any other nominations? Do we have
Quickly,
any
no.
nominations? Okay, Ally, do the roll call, please.
Okay, so just to be sure, this is just to nominate Dave as chair, correct, for 2022?
Yes.
That
Yes.
was my motion. Yes, Miss Ally.
Okay,
Awesome.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Jake Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Grasso,
Yes.
Jan Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Yes.
Nick Caimano.
Yes.
You can't vote, right?
Well, thank you for your confidence.
No, it's smartness.
That's because none of you guys want it.
That's right.
All right, second,
getting smarter.
we need a nomination for vice chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Biddle.
I nominate Mr. Leggett.
Okay. Do I have a second on Mr. Leggett?
I'll second that.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unanimous second, with the exception of Mr. Leggett.
With pleasure.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
He's stuttering.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Leggett, I assume you're abstaining.
Thank you.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Grasso,
Yes.
Jan Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Steve O'Brien.
Yes. Congratulations, Craig.
I'm right behind you, Dave.
The final position is Secretary Treasurer, currently held by Mr. Biddle. Do I have any nominations for Secretary Treasurer?
I nominate Mike Biddle.
Mr. Bruno nominates Mr. Biddle.
I'll second it.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grasso, Mr. Leggett, Mr. Wild, Mr.
Is
Campbell.
there anybody there who might know mathematics better than Michael? Or we can, no, I'm only kidding, Michael.
Okay.
That would be everybody on the board, Uncle Nick.
I'm not good at math. I just know how to do spreadsheets.
Oh, I know who it should. Ginny.
Are there any other nominations?
No.
Are there any other nominations?
No,
Are there any other nominations?
no.
Right, I ask for a roll call vote.
Craig
Miss-
Leggett,
Yes.
I'll abstain, Miss Ally.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Grasso,
Certainly.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Okay,
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, any other items for the good of the organization? Okay, motion to adjourn.
I'll
Mr.
move.
Bruno, second by Mr. Campbell, all in favor?
Were we gonna talk about the substation going on eBay? Mr. Biddle at the Executive Park suggested it get moved to the full board.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought. Didn't we talk about that at the special?
I'm glad you're there, Ally.
Didn't we talk about that at the special meeting in January?
Yes,
It
we
wasn't
did.
approved by the full board though, just the Executive Park.
Okay, I'll take a motion to allow us to put the substation on eBay to see if we can get money for it.
So move.
Moved by Dan, second by Mr. Biddle, Mr. Leggett, Mr. Campbell. Any questions?
Was there a minimum bid? That's what I don't remember.
300,000.
What do we think it's worth?
The gentleman who helped me write the description of the substation to put said 300,000 was reasonable.
There is a market because some of the supplies to build the substations are there. And again, just for your edification, there was a substation on the site, Chuck, and GE used it to power their site. Come to find out, we thought we could provide power for the site. However, in order to provide or sub-meter power, we would have to be a public utility. An IDA can't be public utility. Neither can a private corporation unless they're structured as a public utility. So at the best, we could ask for contributions, but that puts the entire maintenance on us and it would be difficult. It would be less expensive to try and sell that and bring full power in, which could be distributed to the different locations in the site. So that's just the reason for it. All right. I ask for roll call on that, please.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell. Brian,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Grasso,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
He's muted.
Mary, are you there?
she's,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
yes.
and Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Now we're adjourned. I'd like to call the CDC meeting to order. Ally, would you please confirm the quorum?
Yes, Craig Leggett,
Alex,
Here.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Grasso,
Yes.
Dan
Here.
Bruno,
Here.
Mary King,
Here.
Nick Caimano,
yes, and Mr. Chairman, you might want to explain this to Mr. Barton in case he doesn't know what it is.
okay, and Dave O'Brien.
Yes. A while back, the IDA used to be able to do bonds and work with nonprofit corporations such as Silver Bay, such as ACC, or SUNY Adirondack. To us old timers, it'll always be ACC. And other nonprofits such as the hospital, different things. The state then passed a law that said that IDAs couldn't provide support to nonprofit organizations. Therefore, we had to establish a specific development corporation. And through that, we've done several bond issuance. We just did Glens Falls Housing Authority. We did Silver Bay. We've done a couple others in there. So it allows us to continue our good work with them. It does provide a little bit more overhead for the IDA, but that's fine.
SUNY Adirondack too, Dave.
Pardon?
Thank you.
SUNY Adirondack, did you leave that out?
I did not. We did the housing. Maybe I did. We did the housing bonding over
Right.
there, plus some other bonding.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the entire purpose of CDC. Review of current financial reports. You have financial reports in front of you. Basically, as always, they're static like they were last year.
Well, hardly. Mr. Chairman, can you break down the fees, the $157,000 new projects? Remind us.
Kara? What was that project? It wasn't Glens Falls Housing Authority. It was
The Glen at Highland Meadow.
Glendon Highland
Thank
Meadow, yes.
Yeah,
With their memory ward and all, yes.
Alzheimer care unit, memory unit.
Yeah.
So. We'll see. So net income $4,100. Our net assets, net income was up about $4,000. So good. We like to basically keep that straight. We also switched about 100 and some odd $1,000 from the IDA or from the CDC into the IDA. Where that's permissible, so we can have activity and use it as needed. So having said that, any questions on the current financial reports? Thank you. Outstanding is WDR letter of engagement at our executive meeting because the ABO and Paris reports need to be in quickly, and we need to get our auditor going on them quickly. The executive committee did what was called a nunc pro tunc, which is we're authorizing it, but it has to go to the full board for final approval. We only had one bid for the auditor for both the IDA and the CDC. So that was Colin Coombs from
WDR, Mr. Chair,
WDR.
Whittemore, Dowen, and Riccadelli.
Yeah. I should remember I did work with them quite a while ago. Not with the IDA, so anyhow.
I'd like to say, just for the record, it wasn't a bid. This is actually their third year of a 3-year contract that they had signed back in 2019.
Thank you, Alec. So I need a motion to make the nunc pro tunc official.
Move, Dave.
Moved by Brian Campbell, second by Mr. Bruno. Any more comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Isn't
Carried.
this where Michael Biddle says roll call? No.
Yeah, I was waiting for somebody else. Thank you,
I was
Mr.
getting
Vice
ready to
Chairman.
do it. Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan. Yes. Mike Grasso,
Yes.
Ian Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Yes.
Dick Caimano,
yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. All right, that's taken care of finally. Last thing on the agenda was officer nominations. We could do it individually, or someone could make a motion to adopt the same slate of officers as nominated by the IDA.
I move.
Moved by
Second.
Nick, second by Bruno, Mr. Bruno, and Mr. Campbell. Roll call?
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Abstain.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Grasso,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Mary King,
Yes.
Nick Camano,
Yes,
Dave O'Brien.
Abstain. Okay. Any other business come before the CDC? Thank you very much. Oh, I do have one.
yes.
I'll bring it up another day.
You're
I should have done the.
quitting.
Okay. Chuck, I hope you enjoyed your time here.
I did. Thank you for the opportunity to join the meeting.
Okay, good. And we'll touch base.
Look forward to seeing you again, Chuck.
Look forward to seeing you again. Okay. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Be well.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Take your time, Dan.